In 1944, Nazi Germany crumbled under constant pressure, driving leaders to seek a war-changing weapon.
Krummlauf, literally a curved rifle barrel attachment with a periscopic sighting device for shooting around corners.
This gamble led to a radical breakthrough unlike anything seen before.
1,350 tons. It had 30-meter gun, biggest.
And what it nearly accomplished did not just threaten cities, it redefined the future of warfare itself. Number 10. Krummlauf. Imagine firing around a corner, not in a game, but in real war, with live rounds, while enemy troops waited behind a wall. That's the problem Krummlauf addressed. The name means curved barrel in German. It was a bent attachment for the Sonnengewehr 44, making bullets instantly turn 30, 45, 60, or 90 degrees. A periscopic sight on top allowed the shooter to observe targets without exposing their head. Physics was ruthless. Centrifugal force drove each round along the curve toward the exit, but bullets often shattered inside, spraying fragments like a shotgun no one ever expected. Barrel lasted 160 to 300 shots before failing. Speed fell. Range collapsed. The Krummlauf proved it was possible to bend ballistics, but keeping them bent was an entirely different story. Number 9. Kugelpanzer. Now imagine a metal sphere roughly the size of a car, rolling across a battlefield with a soldier sitting inside. The Kugelpanzer, literally a spherical tank. Even today, nobody still knows its purpose. It was 1.5 meters across, 1.8 tons, on 2 large side wheels, with a rear boom stabilizer mounted. A 25 HP single-cylinder engine drove at walking speed. Armor was only 5 millimeters thick. Stock shrapnel, nothing else. A narrow slit in the front gave the driver a thin glimpse of the outside. No weapons, no spare seat, just one enrolling steel leg. Built in Germany, it mysteriously reached Japanese hands, and Soviet soldiers later captured it. Only one survives at Russia's Kubinka Tank Museum, a machine without manual, mission log, or any explanation for its existence. 8. Schwerer Gustav. If the Kugelpanzer was steel-bound mystery, the next exhibit was its opposite, too huge to hide at all. Schwerer Gustav was the biggest cannon ever built, not just then, but in history. Hitler ordered it in 1935. Krupp delivered an 800mm cannon, 32.5 meters barrel, mounted on a rail platform. It weighed 1,350 tons, firing 7-ton shells 50 kilometers. It required 250 soldiers, plus 2,500 more for transport, security. Gustav struck Sevastopol's main ammo depot during the 1942 siege. Yet for its power, it had a fatal flaw: awful accuracy, hitting cities, not specific buildings within. At least one additional unit called Dora was planned, although historians still debate whether it was a separate gun or simply a crew nickname. The largest gun ever created proved that size without accuracy ultimately does not change much. Number 7. Landkreuzer P-1000 Rat. Gustav was huge, but did exist. This entry stayed on paper. Hear the numbers and you'll know why. The P-1000 Rat was Krupp's 1942 super heavy tank, approved by Hitler, would weigh 1,000 tons, 5 times Maß, at 35 meters long. It mounted two 280mm Scharnhorst-class naval guns. A turret was built before the project died, used in Norway's coastal battery. A 128mm gun and 8A guns completed arsenal. Two 24-cylinder MANV-24 engines, 16,000 HP combined, would move it on 3 track rows, each over 1 meter wide. In 1943, The project was dropped. No bridge held. No road endured it. Some machines are simply too massive for the battlefield they were meant to dominate. Number 6. P-1500 Monster. Rat was already absurd, but German engineers looked at it and thought, why not even bigger? Monster was a self-propelled Schwerer Gustav, carrying the same 800mm gun on a mobile chassis, not rails. 100 crew, 1,500 tons, 42 meters long, 4 sub-diesel engines, 4 massive mounts absorbing recoil, armor up to 360 millimeters thick, 7-ton shells fired 50 kilometers from a vehicle capable of repositioning itself. But soil couldn't bear it? Engineers made tracks nearly chassis-wide to spread the weight. Not enough. Cancelled in 1943 with the Rat. The monster left just plans and a name saying it all. Number 5. Sonnengewehr. From tanks crushing Earth, we jump far higher, to a weapon said to orbit the planet itself. The Sonnengewehr, or sun cannon, was a giant space mirror meant to focus sunlight into a beam Nazis could aim anywhere. Physicist Horten Ho imagined this idea in 1923. Mirror to span 9 kilometers squared, orbit like a station, beam focus sunlight down to Earth. One beam could burn 5,000 meters squared, boil oceans, and raise cities. $3 billion cost. Nazi scientists believed it could work in 50 years. Germany was losing everywhere. Yet, in a lab, men sketched orbital mirrors. In 1945, US troops found their Hillersleben plans, showing scientists had seriously studied the project. The sun gun never neared reality. Yet, it's among the Third Reich's most terrifying ideas ever written down. Number 4. V3. If the sun gun was a skyward fantasy, the V3 was a nightmare aimed straight at London. Unlike the V1 flying bomb and V2, V3 wasn't a missile. It was a cannon with propellant charges placed in pairs along the barrel, each pair firing as the projectile passed to give it continuous acceleration up to the muzzle. Codenamed Centipede, these guns spanned 120 meters, the Third Reich's largest artillery ever. 140 kg shell, 1,500 meters per second, 150 kilometers range. The only target was London. Accuracy mattered little when the goal was the total destruction of a capital city. 3 test launchers were built on Poland's Wollin Island. Main battery near Calais was to have 50 guns and 10 pits. After 3 tests, Allied bombers destroyed it. Near Luxembourg, smaller version caused no damage at 43 kilometers, built to level a capital. Weapon barely touched farmland. Number 3. Horten Ho 229. Till now, weapons were brute force. Bigger guns, shells, tonnage. Horten Ho 229 turned back, heading off to vanish. Brothers Walter and Reimar Horten believed that eliminating the fuselage and tail assembly would achieve far greater aerodynamic efficiency than conventional fighters. Their 2-jet flying wing reached 1,000 km/h and a 1,930 kilometers range, double the Army's request. It had a wingspan of 16.8 meters and could reach an altitude of 16 kilometers. The real secret lay in the materials. Wood wasn't just a wartime solution. It reduced the radar signature. Stealth in 1945, built from plywood and glue. Allied forces sent captured prototypes to the US. Decades later, Northrop Grumman used the design for B-2 Spirit. Built of wood, a fading empire's plane quietly soon foretold military aviation's future. Number 2. Die Glocke. The Horten was radical, but it was still an aircraft. What comes next doesn't fit into any category, because no one is really sure what it was. Die Glocke, German for the bell, remains still one of the Third Reich's most disputed artifacts, not for what it did, but what it may have been. The descriptions paint a strange picture. Circular base, about 2 meters wide, likely lead, topped by cylinder and dome, clearly bell-shaped. It was supposedly developed in the Wunderwaffen program, Hitler's desperate bid for miracle weapons. What did it do? Some theories cite an anti-gravity drive, others an autonomous flying weapon, and still others say it produced energy fields unknown to science then. Nazi propaganda claimed it was a time machine, based on technology beyond human comprehension. Most cautious theory says Die Glock was a propulsion system tied to another secret project. Top of this list. Number 1. Haunebu. Here engineering and legend unite. Haunebu means disc-shaped aircraft supposedly built by German engineers in WWII. Manned vehicles with anti-gravity propulsion, designed as the ultimate Wunderwaffen. If even a fraction of these claims were true, it would rewrite aviation history. But that's a huge if. Devices were reportedly built at Skoda factories in Prague and Alp Mountains. Their propulsion would work like a gyroscope, with rotating rings generating lift without engines or wings. The Haunebu 3 was said to be 70 meters in diameter, carry 32 crew members, and reach Mach 10. Development reportedly began in the 1920s, with the first flight in 1939. Stories grew wilder still. Before surrender, craft supposedly loaded on subs, sent to Antarctica's New Swabia. The most extreme theories claim the Nazis built a moon base called the Black Sun, preparing for a new assault on Earth. No evidence, no debris, no credible witnesses. Yet, Haunebu remains a persistent WWII legend. A story that says less about what Germany built than about our inability to let go of secrets too extraordinary to leave behind. Curved cannons, flying discs. These plans expose a regime mocking physics, burning despair for fuel. Some broke limits, others became myth. All ask one haunting question. If this fascinated you, subscribe and join the next discovery.